Hey, I'm Erin.
And this is Monique.
And we are back just a few minutes later with our wrap-up of the Declare Conference here in North Texas, in South Lake, Texas. Declare 2016. Wow, what a long 3 days.
It's been good, though.
Yes.
So good.
It's very, very good. Lots of information. We came here. Well, let's talk about what did you come to learn here, and what did you? And then we'll wrap up with what we learned. How about that?
Yeah, that sounds good. So I came with expectations of being motivated, challenged, and obviously a hunger to learn a lot about a world that I have perceptions about, but I don't truly understand it all or know what the possibilities are.
Yeah, possibilities for sure. It was very exciting to hear from so many of the speakers on the stage how large a platform can be. And of course, when we're talking in terms of blogging, platform is how many people are listening in. For me, it was seeing how, how big that platform can be for Jesus,
yeah,
and how many people can be reached in his name. And because this is live, I'm going to cough again. Excuse me. So that was super exciting for me to see what God is doing, because there were so many women here who have a desire to declare Jesus' name through a digital resource.
Yeah, I would, if you're unaware of what Declare is, I would encourage you to go to the website and just understand it more. But they're really trying to help people with online evangelistic gifts to be the best that they can be. So that's great. And they acknowledge, even this morning we heard the statistics of like how many people blog, mm-hmm. and how saturated this world is, and how that can be really disheartening sometimes, because you think, why should I get into this if everybody's already in it? And that's the perception, that's the enemy, that's exactly what he wants us to think. But the truth is, we all have a voice, and therefore we should all be choosing what we're going to glorify.
Exactly. And with that voice, what story has been planted, what seed has been planted, and what tapestry is Jesus weaving in your life, and what gifts has he given us to be able to share with others to help them through whatever they're going through.
And therefore it doesn't even matter what your platform, the size of your platform.
Yeah.
You know, people are listening to you, even if it's just your kids and your husband, or even if you don't even have children, or you have nieces and nephews. You know, people are listening to you, people are watching you, people want to follow somebody. They want to know that they're not alone in this world. There's all sorts of things that we can give as in the way of support to one another.
And of course, we're saying that because we'd like to think that someone is out there listening right now.
And it's you. And I'm so glad you're here.
And it may only be one you, but we are happy you are here. We're happy. We hope that we touch your life. So, who stood out? Who really popped something into your brain?
I know there's
loved?
So many speakers here, and I really loved. I loved the lady that started us out, Laura Williams, and she just really spoke from her heart. And she has a couple of books, and I would love to understand her heart even more. I even got to sit in a round table meeting with her and just understand her heart more. And we talked about inspiration, how to get it, what happens when it's gone, that sort of thing. So that was just fun. But I also really enjoyed Rachel Martin.
Yeah, both were awesome. I liked Kristen Lemus. I hope I'm saying your name right. I know that your website is thebeautifuldeep.com. She just asked that big question, and it's been asked before, but she just asked it in such a poignant way. If you're not afraid, what would you do differently? And I think that was a question that needed to be asked of myself. Constantly facing fears. It's a big fear to be a blogger and a podcaster and an author and a speaker, because you are putting your innards out on a stage on a daily basis. And for me, I always have these little voices that I'm so afraid are going to pop up and tell me I'm doing it wrong, or why did you say that? That sounded stupid. Your voice sounded bad. So for her to say, if you weren't afraid, what would you do differently? Mm-hmm. And I love that, because I am afraid a lot. You may not know that. I may sound confident, but I'm always afraid. Am I going to say the right thing? Am I going to touch someone the right way and not in a wrong way? Touch someone emotionally. Let's clear that up. But am I going to do the right thing with the gifts that I've been giving, and am I not going to overuse them? I don't ever want to overuse my gift where they become a weakness. So that was thebeautifuldeep.com. Her, Kristen from thebeautifuldeep.com had a great session on that, on fear, and I loved that.
Yeah, and Rachel, just to give her a little bit more of a shout out, she really. She told us right up front that this is I believe she said the first time that she was speaking since her divorce. So I just think about overcoming that as a Christian leader. That's a woman in a church setting. Just how she had to overcome her fear in order to get up in front of all these Christian women, and just the the negativity that surrounds divorce, and I just really admired that about her. She just had so much wisdom, so much knowledge. You could tell she'd been doing this for a really long time. Not that she's old, but
Yeah.
and her website is findingjoy.com, and I just cannot wait to go home and read some of her stuff. She was even giving away an ebook to us, so we're so excited and thankful. All of them in their own way, and Rachel was no exception. Just invited us to create community. That's the challenge. Create community, know our community, what's unique about our community. If you went to your page, or if you took your page away, would anybody notice? I loved that question. And to understand how people are finding you. What really impressed me too is that she was able to tell the names of some of her followers, and we're taught at this conference, which I loved a lot. Don't call them followers. These are people that are entrusted to you, like to share the gospel with. And so she talked about individuality, and just helping us understand our exponential power. So it was just really awesome. She was
very
real.
Authenticity and vulnerability.
Yeah, and she's a mom doing this, doing what she has to do ultimately to put food on her table, which I really respected as well. Just her vulnerability there. She was really great.
Yeah, lots of inspiration from her. I can guarantee you some of my tweets and podcast and blog post will be from inspirations and nudges that I captured while she was speaking. So I thank her so much. What about God-centered mom? That's always awesome with those of us who are trying to be a mom that is God-centered and not lose our way or let school or the world around our children raise them, to be focused and keep drawing near. That was her big thing, drawing near to your kids, drawing near to your role as a mother. And I'm sorry, I have a frog in my throat. That's lovely. See, when we're not live, we edit all those out. So you get the pleasure of hearing that right now. I loved how Heather McFadden said, the enemy cannot steal our salvation, but he can create distance.
Yeah.
That was a big one, and I actually tweeted that just yesterday because it hit me really hard. She's from GodCenteredMom.com. I really loved what she had to say.
I really loved Allie Worthington last night. She works for Propel. She's the executive director of Propel Women, and she gave us the five F's of making decisions. And I just found myself asking so many questions because just in my personal life, not only and then also in professional life and then my dreaming life, all of these things. So her 5 F's were faith, family, future, fulfillment, and friends. And of course she had beautiful verses and great questions, but I know she has a book called Breaking Busy, and I'm sure you could find out more about that as well. We sound like we're giving all these plugs and we're getting some great kickbacks, which we're really not, but this is just valuable resources.
Yeah.
And I was really challenged. I loved those 5 F's. I love the 5 F's ideas of how to make a great decision, and I know a lot of people struggle with that. I'm not alone. I'm not the only one that thought, oh, that was really interesting.
Oh, decision making is so difficult.
So hard.
I have to often find ways to sort out what way should I go, left or right, when it's hard to hear God's voice or to know what direction. I'm going to jump forward to Jen Weaver, thejenweaver.com, and loved what she had. She talked a lot to writers about the components that you need in your writing, and the purpose of our writing. Is it to entertain or to instill, or is it to record some kind of memory? She just had some great stuff, so I would say encourage you to visit. She's at the Jen Weaver on Twitter, so you can find her and follow her there. But she just had some great information about how to sort out and follow a path for your writing. So if you feel like God has put a story in you, which he has, and if you haven't yet discovered that, he has, this is a great starting place and great information for you to start sorting through that and see where he wants you to tell that story.
And she brought up your favorite passage, I think, of the week, the manure.
Oh, yes, which Jen, I just want you to know that that might be the title of my next book. So,
Not in so many words.
Not in so many words. I think I'm going to go a little more Aaron style on that. But yeah, so stay tuned, guys. I think the name of my book might be changing. I'm going to wrestle with that. But
the passage, and it's a great story, Luke 13, verses 6 through 9, just talk about the tree that had basically been dormant. It hadn't been producing fruit for about 3 years. And so went back, and Jesus came back to the man and just said, can we put manure on it for a year?
Yep.
And there's other words for manure. So
yes, and I'm going to use those other words, but I'm going to do it symbols like $,
Yeah.
asterisk.
So that it's like Christianese.
So it's Christianese. So you guys can all pick up the book and not feel
It's
dirty.
a Christian cuss word if you can't pronounce it without your typewriter.
So you can buy it at
That's such
Lifeway
a
or Mardell's and not feel bad. So she was awesome. Did you have anybody? I know I skipped over a couple people there.
I know, I did. And it's so hard because everybody was so good. As if
Yes.
as I said already, there was just too much content to go over in a quick blogcast. This is a blogcast.
That's how tired
That's
we are.
got to be a new word.
Well, I want to say I did have a favorite speaker.
Okay.
And she stood out to me. And she probably, you're going to, I see you nodding already. I had a favorite speaker who, I'll be totally honest with you, she was not the person who came up with the best visuals. She didn't have a well-oiled speech. In fact, she was kind of thrown into the mix at the last minute. But she came up and she shared her heart about the loss of her child when her little girl was 4 years old, the struggles and the way that she and her husband have dealt with that grief ever since. And it was so raw and so real. And it was not well oiled. It was this, to be honest with you, just this authentic, bumbling amount of information that I found myself crying and giggling and sniffling and gulping and gasping out all the way through. And she was so real, and her heart she just poured out her heart. The fact that she's there for us writers, and those of us who need some guidance on our WordPress sites and whatnot, that's what she does. But it was her truth of her personal story that made me want to do business with you. How many sites can I think of that you could just take over for me? Because I wanted my heart and my work to be connected with her heart and her work.
Yeah.
Just because she was so real. She's from onehappystudio.com. And I don't actually remember her first name. I'm sorry, because she came up as a bit of a surprise. She stood in for another speaker who had gone home. But onehappystudio.com, great. I went on and looked online. She's got great stuff. And she was amazing. She was absolutely amazing. And so I thank her for her words.
And that just is a testimony to the power of story itself. You might doubt your skill set, but don't ever doubt your story because God gave it to you. And she didn't doubt her story today, and I'm so glad. I'm just really glad that she didn't, because I was really touched by that moment as well.
Absolutely. And there were some nuggets of people that weren't speakers.
Her name is Susan Ramsey.
Oh, Susan Ramsey. I'm sorry, Susan, I forgot your name, but I remembered your website.
OneHappyStudio.com.
Yeah, there you go. So follow Susan Ramsey. She was awesome, just awesome.
Very knowledgeable.
And she's got a great accent, a great Australian accent, so that was fun. I loved meeting Stephanie from the Blythe Daniels agency. She is with a blogging network, and she actually taught me in a couple brief conversations about bold prayer and already awesome applications there, and that was very cool to take home. And I just think that conversation, the conversation we had with the woman about finding our place as women in still in a man's world, especially in the Christian sector. What was her site?
Her name was Ginger Armstrong.
Ginger Armstrong. She was
she
awesome.
is at lovelyfound.com.
Lovely Found. And that conversation was awesome. There were so many great sidebar conversations.
And then the prayer room was really beautiful. Everything was beautiful. We got tons of gifts. We should have brought an extra luggage piece.
Yeah, the swag is awesome.
Awesome.
I might even go as far to say freaking awesome. So I was super excited. I loved the woman whose journal you're taking home, the 30-day.
Oh, she was so fun. Keep going. Keep talking.
Okay, so there was a woman here, and she gave everybody who would sign up a free 30-day journal. It was awesome, and it's just a walking through prayer and discipleship, and it was just super, super amazing. Can't remember the name.
Charity Reeb.
Charity Reeb.
R-E-E-B.
Charity Reeb.
And she is at...
Oh, she's the one with the logo with the skull in it.
Yes.
She is super fun.
Live for what matters. Die without regret. And she has written this awesome journal. It's a 30-day experience. So Erin and I are both going to be going through that and just reviewing it. We're going to be reviewing a couple of things.
Yeah, actually we're going to be giving away a couple copies of things too. We've been asked to be book and product reviewers.
Yeah.
So you'll be seeing that change here on the Clearing Space. We're going to be adding that component in.
Which totally fits because we want to be a resource for you for great tools. So we try to give you the tools that we use right now, and we're so open to new tools and using them and seeing how they can impact others. So it's going to be awesome.
Absolutely. So if you are a fellow declarer, I think that's what they called us. if you're a fellow declarer and you would love us to review your product, we would love to do that. I'm so excited to have seen you. If we didn't meet you all, I know we saw a lot of faces and smiled at as many as we could. It was just such a great time. The prayer, the worship was amazing. Amy.
Oh yes, Amy.
Amy, just